There actually is not a lot of peer-reviewed data about survivor return. There's a study out of Israel because it's incredibly difficult to get the data to put out a peer-reviewed study because, there's so many things happening in a survivor's life, and they might return once. People quote the metric a lot of times. I've not seen where it's cited, but women return 7 times before they finally leave. Well, that is, by the way, somebody that has hope that this relationship can work. That's hope. That's hope. That's a hope cycle, right? Now, without any intervention for the abusive partner, though, how are we expecting their behavior to change, right? Without understanding all of these things that you and I have talked about, how do we expect that behavior to change? So the domestic violence movement, largely in the nonprofit space, needs to create opportunities for abusive men in particular, but abusive gender non-binary and women as well, to have access to education and therapy and all kinds of things to understand how do they become a functioning individual inside of an abusive relationship. Like, how do we end the abuse if they want to be together? So yes, survivors do return. To what effect? I would say it's probably between 50 and 65%. We know a lot of that is economically driven. As a survivor, you may not have the resources to take care of the kids if they're included, right, to stay housed, all of those kinds of things. I can't solve for that. Like, largely, I don't have that kind of a budget, but could we offer, and we do offer, classes to abusive partners? So if they engage, we can inform the survivor, fantastic, your abusive partner's engaged in classes. Now let's see where we get to. That can build a hope framework for that partnership. And so, yeah, there are other ways to do this than survivors have to leave and abusive partners need to be incarcerated. That's largely not working. So let's create a different framework, and let's stop flooding our court systems with cases of misdemeanor domestic violence so they can actually focus on felony domestic violence, which includes assault with a weapon and strangulation, which are markers for homicide. That's what our court system needs to deal with. In Las Vegas, that's about 3,000 cases a year, give or take, out of 22,000 domestic violence cases. So I've got 22,000 domestic violence charges a year from police to the courts. Only 3,000 of those are felony, which has a strangulation or marker. All of these other misdemeanor cases are largely going to be pled out, pled down, very few convictions. They're going to be pled into the classes for a small portion of them, but there's not a lot. The criminal justice system is not equipped for this, right? If I hit you, if I'm drunk and I drive my car and I hit you, you're a victim of my stupidity, and then I have to deal with that, right? But you and I do not need to have Thanksgiving dinner together. We do not need to exchange children. We never need to see each other again, right? Probably relieving for someone who has been hit by a drunk driver. But in domestic violence, the courts are unable to mitigate the relationship. They don't know how to deal with this in a way, right, in a context of which these two people may or may not end up together. And we see all kinds of things happen. We see survivors recant. We see survivors become a witness for the defense and say what a great guy he was and she made it all up. This is all indications of a system that's not working. So yeah, there's some new trajectories to work in that space.